Hey there guys, we're going to be going back to Mechiron for another rank 1 clear. This time we're going to be using the light element. So for this one, they have fixed that bug, so EX16 is all you need at this point. And we're going to be going with this party. We're going to once again be using Melissa and Abigail and Kaito because all three of them are very good for this Clash of Wills, it seems. And then for the light party, we're going to just swap it around from the water stuff. We're going to be using Noctis, 2B, and Mirai. Now for this, we're going to be using that new bracer that extends LB modifier buffs. And we're going to use that to really superpower our 2B to carry this fight. And I'll show you as we get in here. Now, if you don't have the new bracer, if you can't afford it, or if you just don't want to buy it, you might need a little more damage than what we're going to have on the party, because without that bracer, we're not going to deal nearly as much damage. Okay, so to start off, Noctis will just dispel the boss using Bushido Freedom as our first action. Abigail will do Cover, Shelga, and then she's going to do Omni Cover as the last action with Methodical Mitigation. Mirai will end Lightga, bar Lightja, and then put up her field. Kaito will shift form, destabling and double deep. 2B will just do the killer buffs 3 times for the morale gain. And Melissa will do chronic, parasol shield, and then all-consuming darkness, so we can absorb darkness for 3 turns. Alright, let's give it a go. Some more attacks on the party. Not that big a deal. Well, it can be. This time I learned my lesson. I gave guts to people for turn 1, because turn 1, yeah, the boss loves to pick on certain people multiple times in a turn, but I gave Kaito guts this time. I knew that was coming, so he survived. So the rest of the turns should be fine. So now what we're going to do is Abigail is going to contingency plan. We're going to anti-physical, and we're going to veil for the status immunity. After we do that on Abigail, we will use Melissa to LB targeting Abigail. Noctis will just give us End Lightga for the morale gain. Kaito will do his field. We'll do deep and destabilizing again. Mirai will just do a triple bolting strike for the morale gain. And 2B can do her shifted LB for the modifier buff. And we're going to be extending 2B's modifiers with the bracer a little bit later, but we're going to stack a bunch of modifiers on 2B. And the cool thing with 2B is she double dips on all those modifiers, so they're going to be twice as effective on her. So there you go. We're still absorbing darkness, and the boss is still imbued. We're not dispelling the boss anymore. Keep that in mind. Even though the boss does have a defense and spirit buff, ignore it. So this turn, we're going to SLB Abigail. We're also going to SLB Melissa, but Melissa is going to target herself with the SLB. That's very important. Abigail will SLB for the mitigation as well. Noctis can just end Lightga again. We're going to have 2B now do Tyvis's Spirit. Again, another modifier that we're going to extend to basically be up the entire fight. Mirai on this turn is going to do Chain Connection Burst. It doesn't really matter who you cast it on, 2B is fine. We're going to do Yang Mudra, and we're going to do just a Bolting Strike for the morale gain. And Kaito is going to do Downpour, Deadly, and Natural. If your Deadly and Natural is not available, because maybe your morale is slightly lower, this does take 150 morale to cast. If your morale is slightly lower, try to get more morale on your party. If you just can't get to 150 on this turn, then you can just do Downpour and then Deep and Destable again for more morale gain. And then you can swap out the turn 5 attack for Deadly and Natural. But it'll be slightly less optimal if you do it that way. Anyway, some more attacks. This is the last turn of our imbue on the boss. So next turn, the boss will hurt a little bit. But we've got a plan. Okay, so we're going to refresh the normal cover on Abigail this turn. But we're also going to wait for the auto casting. Okay, so normal cover. Then we're going to do Protectka. Then we're going to do Methodical. That is going to Omni cover this turn. And the reason we can do it again so soon is because we did the time reduction with Melissa. Melissa is going to do Human Killer on 2B, Beast Killer on 2B, and Seconds of Support on 2B. That is a big modifier buff that only will last for one turn. 2B is going to do True Charge, her 150 amp, and then Avoid for the Mirage. Mirai is going to do Arcane Supplementation, Praja of Light for the Ramping Amplify, and Avatar of Light for the Burst next turn. Noctis will shift here and get ready for bursting next turn. We'll just do Return of Dawn. We'll do Elemental Burst Light, and it ends now. Now, we've currently, at the time, we have one more turn of 2B's Shifted Form LB modifier. We've got one more turn of Tyvis's STMR, and we've got the only one turn of Melissa's modifier buff. We're going to use Kaito wearing the new Bracer to Gilded Bracer on 2B and add 5 extra turns to all of those modifier buffs. So they're going to last basically for the rest of the fight. 2B's base form LB is going to be supercharged with a lot of modifier buffs. Pretty cool. Now that being said, Light Element is not that great. It's going to be a lot weaker than our Water Clear, but thankfully all these modifier stackings, we're still going to get it done. I hope. Anyway, so what we're going to do here, notice the boss does have the defense and spirit buff, but it is our burst turn. So we're going to go to the base form with 2B. We're going to Shifted LB Noctis. We're going to Shifted LB Mirai. And we're going to use Kaito to do first action Crashing Waves, then Deep and Destable. So what we're going to do, we're going to click Kaito first, wait a split moment for the boss's buffs to go away, then chain the rest of the people. Don't click Abigail or Melissa yet. So there we go. And that should be a burst. Now, optimally, we want to be, that's perfect. We want to be close to 50 without going over. For this strategy, you do not want to cross the threshold on turn 5. For the most part, you shouldn't, unless you're just like way more powerful than I am. Anyway, after doing that, we're going to have Abigail triple cast Bar Faraja. You know, I'm thinking, give me 1 second. I think we're instead going to have Melissa do a double Bar Darkja and an uncontrollable Darkness. We're going to do that to absorb Dark Element for a turn. Abigail is going to... Oh, I was going to say use Contingency. It's not even available, so never mind. So yeah, she'll just Bar Faraja 3 times. And we're absorbing Darkness, so it's fine. This turn. 6.5 billion, 100 count chain. The 100 count chain was a little bit dicey. I clicked the rest of the party a little bit slowly. So you want to click on that turn, you want to click Kaito, and then click the others a little bit quicker so Kaito can weave into that chain. We did it properly, but I was like right there on the 100 count, because that's the only turn we're going to chain to 100. Anyway, Kaito automatically dispelled the boss with his Crashing Waves. But we did lose some of our buffs from him. So he is now going to do Downpour, Deadly, and Natural. So go ahead and do that with Kaito first. Alright, let's see here. Look at my turn chart. Yep, and then we'll go ahead and just burst yet again. We've still got Arcane Supplementation, so we don't need to worry about the morale gain buffs. the morale bar buffs. So we'll go ahead and burst this up. And this should push the boss below 50, obviously. Good job. So now we're going to use Abigail to SLB, and Melissa is going to bar Darkja 3 times. Because we want to refill the LB gauge. Okay, so the boss pushed the threshold, so the boss is not going to attack us this round. But he is going to buff up. That's fine. We're going to deal with that. Okay, this turn, we are going to use Kaito to get rid of the boss's buffs. So, and keep in mind, 2B is still rocking out all those modifiers. Her Shifted LB modifier, the Tyvis Spirit modifier, and the Melissa modifiers are all still active on her. So this is like really cool. So we're going to go ahead and do Torrential Blade Storm to get rid of the boss's Mirage. We're going to Field again with Kaito, and then we're going to Unpredictable to get rid of the boss's Undispellable buffs. Okay, now we are going to, before we burst, I'm trying to decide how much we need. Okay, so we are going to, let me look one second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I don't know if we need Veil or not. I guess just to be safe, we'll do it. So we're going to bar Faraja twice, and we're going to do Veil. Okay, that filled the LB gauge. Perfect. So now we're going to use Melissa. We're going to Minutes of Might. We're going to Beast on 2B and Human on 2B. Okay. And we're going to burst again. So beforehand, we're going to use the morale gauge stuff. We're going to Attack and Magic buff. We're going to Defense and Spirit buff. We're going to Resist buff. We're going to cure the debuffs off the party. Because Abigail may die this turn. If she does, it's fine. But it'd be better if she didn't. So yeah, we're all healed. So there we go. So go ahead and just burst again. So do this. And a little bit more damage. Probably not going to kill the boss here. Yeah, we didn't kill the boss. That's okay. That's okay. So, we might lose Abigail here. This is a very painful turn. 88,000 damage on Abigail. Yeah, we lost Abigail. I figured that would happen. 1,000,000 damage on Abigail. Thankfully, she's got multi-guts. You know, sometimes your Abigail may end up just still dead that turn. If so, don't worry about it. Doesn't really matter. But now it's time to kill the boss. So, we lost our Light Imbue. The Light Imbue has worn off at this point. So what we're going to do, we're going to use Mirai to go back to the base form. We're going to end Lightga, and we'll just bar Lightya twice to fill the LB gauge. Now, most of the time, your Abigail will be dead this turn. So I'm just not even going to use her and pretend like she stayed dead. So we'll just bar Darkja 3 times with Melissa. And we're going to LB, 2B, and Noctis. And then Kaito will just triple bolting to chain with Noctis. And we can go ahead and do a big attack and magic buff. And we'll chain it up. And we're not going to use Abigail because, like I said, most of the time she would be dead at that point. Once 2B's big final hit comes in, yeah, that 888 million was 2B's big capper hit. And that was pretty much carried by 2B entirely. And the Clash of Wills Bracer that extended all those 1-turn or 2-turn buffs. And they extended them for the whole fight, pretty much. So yeah, we had large amounts of help on 2B. So there you go. As you can see, 2B, you know, 1.5, 2-year-old unit at this point, is doing enormous damage thanks to the modifier stacking on her and the bracer extend. It's a pretty cool item. I'm really glad that I realized what it was after kind of judging it early, thinking it was just LB buff. No, it's LB modifier buff, and that bracer can extend them for a long time, and you can stack all kind of modifiers on a unit. And someone like 2B that double dips on it, whoo, it gets out of control. But there it is. There's our light clear. Still not easy to do. You definitely need strong units. You know, the water clear, I feel, is just way, way easier than the light clear. So if you've got the units for water, definitely do that one. It's super easy. Light is an uphill struggle, but it worked. It worked. So we'll turn on all the modifiers and go look at our team. So as far as killers go, we've got Beast Overkiller on 2B, and then just, you know, some regular stuff on the rest of the units. Otherwise, don't care. As far as gear goes, Melissa is just using a morale card. Other than that, whatever. In this clear, she is not passive provoking. Keep that in mind. We do not want her to ever risk dying. We need her always alive and always auto casting. So do not passive provoke her in this clear. Abigail, on the other hand, is full evasion with 100 evade, etc. Passive provoke, little bit of water and light resist, not much, but there we go. Counter build, and then other than that, a lot of defense, because the physical damage hurts kind of more than the magical damage does. This boss does large hits. True King Noctis in the base form, it's kind of whatever. Morale gain with Celestite Rod treasured. Also, sources of guts and a lot of bulk, because turn 1 is painful. We also gave him a way to dispel the boss on turn 1. So we gave him Bushido Freedom. And then we gave him the best card I own. Shift form is damage. So, you know, dual wielding, you know how it goes. Dual wielding, change speed, etc. 2B in the shift form is pure bulk. We're not damaging in the shift form. So pure bulk in the shift form, a little bit of morale stuff. Tyvis' Spirit, pretty useful because what we're doing. And then in the base form, damage. And I gave her a source of Chocobo Feather as like emergency guts, as well as a little bit of LB fill. It's mostly as a backup plan. Shouldn't really need that, but there it is. A little bit of change speed, and there you go. And then Mirai in the base form, bulk, a lot of bulk, survivability. Other than that, kind of whatever. Shift form is damage, and she got the leftover gear, so her damage was not as good as it could have been. But she is capped on all the killers, so yeah. And then Kaito, both forms identical. Dual wielding a water and a light weapons, probably not required, but whatever. Dual wielding a morale card, and then just some bulk. And here is the bracer I'm talking about. High Celestite Bracer of Will. And with this, we use this to extend these for 5 extra turns. And that allowed us to have, for the entirety of turns 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, we had all the modifier buffs on 2B. And then, of course, like I mentioned, 2B double dips on modifiers, because she has two different types of damage, and they double dip on all those modifier buffs. So it was pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, that was a light clear. So turn chart will be in the comments. Hope it helps. See you in a bit.